Good afternoon. It's Thanksgiving 2020, about 3 in the afternoon. I am about to walk you through about 50 apple varieties that are on my center field production list, and I'm going to go through them one by one. This one that's labeled Chehalis is actually probably Akane. Akane, mid-September, tart, sweet, juicy. Not much of a keeper, but here we are, Thanksgiving. And it's mildly delicious with the white flesh. Shall I bite into that? Sure. Yep. That's Akane. Now we have Airly Red Flesh. Airly Red Flesh is a apple that is a editor introduction, and what's curious about this is it looks pretty plain, but underneath this fruit, ooh, can we get a close-up of that? It doesn't get well, here you go. Airly. Quite a delight at this season. Here's an Akane from my neighbor. Quite white fleshed. Very juicy. Delicious. Wow. Yum. Arkansas Black. I know this apple to be quite acid, and it is quite acid. But let me do justice with this and give a bite. Yep. Hard, crisp, juicy. It'd keep another 2 months. Arkansas Black. Now here we have Belle de Bascoup. The bell. It's too beautiful to eat. This is a keeper until April or May. Quite tart. Holds up in a strudel. And it's an excellent baker. Belle de Bascoup. Belmont. Grown on M27. That's a super dwarf tree. Rootstock. I'm going to bite this one. Gosh, not a sign of scab on this. Belmont. Here we go. Soft. Still crunchy. Quite juicy. Mild subacid. Like biting into a sweet, silty soil if I were to eat silt. It has a lot of grain to it. Black Amish. This was picked. Gosh, it looks a lot like Stayman wine sap. Wow. Interesting overtones. Gosh, what a good glass of wine. All the flavors that come through. Wow. Delightful. Black Amish. Rosy. There's another one. I'm going to wait on that. It's quite dense, yet, as I put my finger into it for a pressure test. Sounds good. Sounds like it'll keep another month or two. Blue Pearmain. Blue Pearmain? Look at that creature. Jeez Louise, what's going on with that? Another blue. Nice. It's awesome. Well, since that's dented, and I've heard that this is not a good eater, I am going to taste it and see what goes on. Often Blue Pearmain, well, usually Blue Pearmain is blue because it's got a bloom, kind of a foggy off-gassing of ethylene, probably. Here we go. All right. Moderate skin, tasty, decent. I don't know why Blue Pearmain doesn't have its place. Historical. I'll have to look that one up. All right. I know Braeburn to be a keeper. I'm not going to bite into this. But there's your Braeburn. I've eaten this in April. Excellent. Brown's apple. Brown's apple is new to me. It's overdone. Seasons past. Brown's apple, stripy. A cider apple. Here you go. Okay. Quite juicy, quite acid, and tannic. So the mouthfeel of a Brown's apple in a cider is excellent. I'd add that to a cider anytime. Moving on. BS1. That's Brian Smith 1. Keepsake seedling. Keepsake is a Honeycrisp Mama. And this is one of 200 seedlings of Keepsake. BS1, Brian Smith 1. I think this is a standout. It's quite acid. It's quite starchy. I think its peak is going to be in December and January. And we'll be calling this something like feisty or something. I don't know. It's quite good. Really, really good. All right. Moving on. Cherry Cox. Cherry Cox is one of the 85 siblings of Cox Orange Pippin. And Cherry Cox is, well, you can see the variations of size. We've got 3 sizes here. Snail bites. Well, I'm going to choose this one that looks more like a Rubinette than a cherry. And taste this creature. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's an awesome apple. All right. We'll probably get some more of those. Crazy good. Mmm. Mmm. It's got all the sweetness, all the range, all the balance of subacid, sweet, orange, pineapple. Mmm. Yum. Oh, here's one I've not eaten before. This is Cole's Quince. This came out of the Botner Orchard in Oregon. He has over 4,000 collection variety, and it's become a trust to preserve what he collected, and that's important. See, it's got some surface blight, often like Honeycrisp gets. How about that? Same kind of spotting. Here we go. Cole's Quince. Wow. What a delicious large apple. Nicely chewy skin. Oh, a little bitter. I don't know that that's coming from the blackened spots on the surface. Probably, actually, if I look at that closely. That bitterness has seeped in about a quarter of an inch deep into the skin. But it's juicy. It's got a nice chewy skin. And we'll see what that results in. Overall, it's going to be I like size. Size of a fruit like that is good. Here we have Crimson Crisp. And this will hang on the tree forever. Again and again, it will hang on the tree forever. It's very similar to Pixie Crunch, and it loses its flavor over time. I think it's good in mid-September. Still enough acidity to carry it. Flavor, mild. What's curious about these trees, Pixie Crunch, Crimson Crisp, are very similar to each other, is that they hang on the tree forever. Perfect for an ornamental espalier at your entrance to your home, because they're bright red, golden, pretty, and they hang forever. But be warned, the flavor drops off. Yep, I'd say this is the last month. It's November 25th, folks. Democrat. This is a new apple to me, given to me by my neighbor. And it's a hard apple. I really don't want to bite into it yet, because I'm sure it will keep for another 2 or 3 or 4 months. All right? Democrat. There's a bit of golden going on there. It's getting close. And if it's close enough, it should have fragrance. Democrat. We'll wait on that. Enterprise. One of the siblings, actually, no. Enterprise is a cross. I'll have to look that up. Enterprise is, well, it made Cosmic Crisp, which will be on the market here in another year or two. It made the market last year. Enterprise and Honeycrisp. Honeycrisp, remember Honeycrisp? And Enterprise. These two made Cosmic Crisp. Enterprise is a huge, bomb-proof apple. It doesn't get any bugs. It's very late. And here in Western Washington, Snohomish County, 98290, this apple is a standout. And I eat this in May. When you want an apple ready to eat, there you go. It's a May baby, as I am. Next, I'm not sure that this is correctly labeled, but I got it as early harvest, and it's rather late. Very short stem. Can I focus on that? Early harvest. Well, I'm going to give a bite. Oh my God. Well, you know what? I'm afraid I think this was mixed up. I haven't even tasted Ananas Rhinette or the pineapple. Ah, that's very pineapple-y. Oh my God. Oh, wow. I think that's going to be turning out to be the same thing as Ananas Rhinette. Wow. All right, I have one tree of early harvest, and I think that is a creature of the Ananas Rhinette. Moving on. Here are 3 Elstar. I don't need to mention these things. This is a Dutch favorite. It was a #1 picker here at Skipley Farm. Elstar, Baker, fresh eating, beautiful, sweet, tart, juicy, nice range. Of course, is a Cox Orange Pippin sibling. Here we go. Let's have a bite. Elstar. What's typical of Elstar is it has these russet edges all around it. All around it. Right at the heel of its basin. Yep. Wow. I'd say it's peak at Thanksgiving. You pick it a little bit early, and it will be peak at Thanksgiving. That's quite good. Elstar. And the red form of Elstar is Dailiest, but I'm not convinced it's any better. I'm quite convinced that this Elstar is, as it is, like Red Delicious, the perfect apple. Oh, Red Delicious, what do we have? 80, 100 different cultivars. Hawkeye is one of the earliest of Red Delicious strains. I don't have Red Delicious here. Guys, we got a few more apples to get through. But, alright. It's Thanksgiving. Alright. Freyberg. Not a pretty apple. Punky, a little bit, feeling soft and punky. Shall we give it a thug? Freyberg. Oh my gosh. So sweet. Awesome. Wow. Orangey. Tangerine. Delightful. Crunchy. Not very juicy, but not dry and not mushy. Alright, I've been wanting to taste this forever. It's got a little bit of decay on one side. Genetic. I've grafted this onto 6 different rootstocks 5 years ago. And genetic, as its name might imply, is something very unique in the gene world. What's going on with genetic? Where'd that come from? Well, let's give it a bite and see what we got. Oh my God. When have you ever seen 3 seeds in a carpel? That looks consistent. It's very much like a quince. Quince has multiple seeds, like 5 or 6 seeds in each carpel, or more. This is genetic. And there's 3 seeds in one carpel, and the other one has 3 seeds too. What's with that? No, it's rather soft, sweet tart, dry, fine grained. Skin, chewy, reasonable. I mean, I'll keep chewing it. And decay. So, its season might have been about 1 month ago. Golden Pearman. I know, Golden Pearman has been, I ate one of these about a month ago, and it's very, it was soft. So let's try this creature. Golden Pearman is a fine texture. Wow. Almost like a baked apple. It tastes a little bit roasted. Curious. Medium texture, medium coarse, dry, soft, and at its peak probably about 3 weeks ago. Here we have Gold Rush. Gold Rush always gets sooty blotch. Sooty blotch, a fungus with the autumn dew. Gold Rush is quite acid, keeps into January, February, March, and it's delightful. I'm not going to break into this because I like it too much. But there's Gold Rush. I recommend it. It's a little bit late for us here in Western Washington, but I think with the climate changes that we should have a good climate for Gold Rush. Give it a nice warm spot. Moving on. Geez. H. Hawaii. I have seen beautiful Hawaiis. Okay, so they get a little bit of apple scab. Apple scab. Anti-carcinogenic. We should all be eating apple scab. This is the $20 a pound apple. And I'm going to flavor myself and my tongue to treat it to a Hawaii. right? Stem, calyx. Again, wow. Pineapple, citrus, breaking, fine, medium fine. Enough acidity to carry it into December. Hawaii, scabby, too bad. A beautiful apple when it arrives. I haven't seen a whole lot of scab on other years, but Hawaii will be a keeper. December. All right. I've been getting a lot of calls for Hokuto. Hokuto. And Hokuto is a large Japanese, gonna be sweet, I'm sure, apple. Calyx. Stem. Are we in focus here? Right. Right. As we go. How close can I get? Right. Okay. Here we go. I am so anxious to bite into this. It's Thanksgiving after all. Grassy. Vanilla. Very juicy. A bit rubbery in its texture, quite chewy, delicious. Skin thin, mild. Worth a second and third bite. Totally edible. Wow. I'm liking Hokuto. There you go. Yep. We'll make more of those. It's a large apple. All right, Honeycrisp in the shade, grown in the shade, very low sugar. I've been eating 4 or 5 of these every evening with peanut butter. It's my anti-diabetic apple. When they're grown in the shade with low sugar, they still have all their explosive, crisp sweetness that comes out. I like Honeycrisp. It's always a good apple, and it's very productive. All right, Hubbardston Nonsuch, way back. It's an old apple, and I don't know its parentage. We'll do this every year. We will, and I'll be learning about this in its bit of history. Hubbardston Nonsuch. Here we go. Gosh, that looks a lot like the Brian Smith 1 apple, the keepsake seedling. Curious. Here we go. Toasted oats. Barley pancakes. Dry. A little mealy. Hard, breaking, but low juice. Not impressed. It's a weird apple. Weird in that it's dry, low sugar, low acidity. It has a nice crunch. Turn that into a reminds me of a meringue cookie. All right, moving on from Hubbardston Nonsuch. We got Jonagold here, always a long stem, always apple scab. And I like Jonagold. You know, it was the blindfold taste test winner before Honeycrisp came on. Let's give it a taste. Wow. Yep. It surpasses Honeycrisp in my mind. Give me more of these. Wow. Oh. Juicy, sweet, tart, complex. A nice chew. Thin skin. Wow. A triploid. It's a vigorous tree. I'd put it in a semi-dwarf or dwarf tree rootstock. Excellent. Jonathan. Alright, the tree that I called my helicopter tree when I grew up is Jonathan. Heavily infested with apple maggot. Here I spray with clay, so I don't get the apple maggot. But Jonathan is bright red, tangy. Yeah, mid-October apple. Here it's quite angular, and give it a taste here. I picked some from the Nisqually Wildlife Sanctuary, and they were very, very riddled with apple maggot. In fact, there's a Jonathan from Nisqually Flats. Look at that apple maggot. Terrible. So, here's a crunch test. Well, so if you don't get your clay spray on, and if you're not using a bug net, you're going to get apple maggot, and maggot makes the apple bitter. Roses. Juicy. Good range. I'm liking Jonathan. Always. Always. And it's pretty scab free. Alright, an apple that I've not tasted yet is one called Joseph. And that looks rather green. I've got a couple more over here that might be riper. There's one. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Wow, look at that heavy scab. Holy moly. Heavy, heavy scab. But I'll bite both sides. I'll bite a bite from there. And I'll bite a scabby side. Here we go. Wow. I'm liking it. Look at that yellow flesh. Very chewy skin. That's almost more of the meal than the apple itself. And over here we have the scab part. I'm going to bite right through it, folks. You know, it's like eating the extra toasted parts of a pot of popcorn. Crunchy. Same flavor, a little bit richer. Joseph. I want more. Huh. That's quite exceptional. Worthy of... That's an apple pie apple. That'll do. I'll come back to those later. Okay. Wow. All right. Look at that, folks. We're moving through. Yep. A to Z. Airly red flesh to at the end is Zabergau Rennet. All right. Okay. We are at Jonathan and then Joseph, and we're moving on to Carmine de Sonneville. And I'm going to stop here and start another video so that you may move on from there. Okay, part 2. K to Z, Carmine de Sonneville. Another Cox Orange Pippin sibling, and it's a short, thick stem, typically an open calyx. Not a pretty apple at all. A lot of russet, and quite soft, but for sure it's not like mush. It's going to be a lot of juice in this. Wow. Great pie, apple sauce. A lot of range. Carmine de Sonneville. Cox Orange Pippin sibling. Excellent. Worthy. It'll maybe get into December. But fine textured, juicy, acid, sweet, complex. Probably a great baker. Okay, folks. Keepsake, the mother to Honeycrisp. We don't know the father. Keepsake here doesn't quite make like the Pennsylvania Keepsake with a little more heat, but this is a good apple. It's quite crisp and light, and I'm not going to bite into it right now. I like it, but it's better in December and January. I know that. King of Tompkins County. This is a keeper. I picked this up at Nisqually, and I think it's King. It's got just enough scab and just enough waxiness, but there are many, I think many strains of King. Short stem, fairly tight calyx, and angular, stripy, waxy, eventually greasy. Here we go. Very juicy. Juicy and mealy at the same time. As the Kings do, they go over by the end of October. They'd be at their peak at the end of October. Kingston Black. Here we have 2. Both grown on M26. Gosh, so looks like a Red Delicious. Very short stem. Mmm. Mmm. Acid, sweet, on the edge of mushy, juicy, very thin skin, Macintosh-like, white-fleshed, pink bleeding, ho-hum, mild. Ohio State apple, the Melrose. Really? Delicious. It's got to be one of my favorite apples. And take this tag off so you can see the calyx, the flower end, and this Melrose has seen some clay, so it's our own, from my own field, not the neighbor. It's a popular apple. Gets around. Melrose. I know this to be a really good and juicy apple into November, December. That's about its lasting point, the end of that. Excellent. A little bit scabby, very slight, but it gets scab. And not a heavy bearer, but a decent apple. It's worthy of growing because of its excellent flavor and texture and aromas and appliness of it all. Newtown Pippin. Oh my gosh. I had these in December down in Aptos, California, where they grow with the persimmons, and they are awesome. Awesome. What a great apple. The McDonald's apple pie apple. Newtown Pippin from 1500s, 1600s out of Massachusetts. Old-timey. This is not quite ready, but that will be an apple to taste in another month. Pink Delight. Look at this creature. Oh my gosh. It's got a lot of apple maggot and other stings and troubles. Concerned about that because inside the Pink Delight is a pink fleshed apple. Very juicy and wet. Sour, sweet. A crisp skin. Use, well, be fresh eating if it were a little more pretty. We'll work on that. Pink Delight. Pink Lady. Oh boy. Does everybody know Pink Lady? Yeah. Cripps Pink. Pink Lady. Darn if it doesn't look like a Fuji from the outset. It's got some scab. Here we go. Pink Lady. Yeah. Mislabeled. Pink Lady on 111. Tasteless. Nope, it's not sour at all. As I would know Pink Lady. Well, Pink Lady. I have to check on that. Hey, LMNOP. Medlar. This is not an apple. This is a fruit from Shakespearean time. The French have a name for that little calyx end. It looks like the equivalent of culling out a dog's ass. The medlar is eaten after it gets bacterial, bledded, frozen, and then it's like putting an acid apple butter. Delicious. From the Balkans, a Iranian favorite. We have them and they're $8 a pound currently this year. Okay, I am so anxious to taste this apple. Reinette Pippin. Reinette Pippin. Ooh, look at that baby. Reinette Pippin. What's the stem on this? The russeting, right? There you go. Reinette Pippin. It feels punky, but I don't think it's lost its juiciness. It's quite dense. It's a good measure of its density is what its weight is. What is the weight? Is it more air or is it more juice? Reinette Pippin. Here we go. Lemony. Lemony, pineapple. Quite good. Juicy, a little on the dry side, breaking. Wow. Reinette Pippin. Excellent. Not crisp. Ideally, I'd say end of October. Okay, Rhode Island Greening. This is my first fruit of the cropping. Grown on probably M7. It's got a fairly short stem. And just a bit of apple scab. There we go. Rhode Island Greening. Yes, vanilla. Coconut. Yep, like coconut cream. A little mushy, a little dry. Ideally, probably end of October. Wow, coconut cream. Awesome. Delightful. Rhode Island Greening. Oh my gosh. I picked this up at Nisqually down by Olympia. That's a Rome beauty, folks. As far as I can tell, that is a Rome. Look at that basin. That is a Rome beauty. Check this out. Mild, sweet, juicy. Often bleeding into red. This one is not. A little bit bitter skin. Somewhat scabby. Mild. The fruits were hanging on this tree. None were on the ground. All hanging on the tree 2 weeks ago. Rome beauty. Alright. Another Cox Orange Pippin sibling. Rubinette. Rubinette. 10 years of growing this creature and I haven't had a good year. Except this year. I was very impressed and people loved it. Loved it. Yeah. Here you go. A most complex, sour, So here we are on Thanksgiving Day. This is worthy of cheese. Peanut butter. It's good. Delicious. But it took 10 years to grow this creature into a decent fruit. Highly recommended from Rain Tree Nursery. Sam Benowitz. Like, what apple would you grow? The first apple you would grow? Rubinette. The apple to compare to. Okay, I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for this apple. Russet from Bottner Orchard. The Bottner collection has got over 4,000 varieties in Oregon. Now under a trust. Bottner, B-O-T-N-E-R. Look it up. So it does look like a Ergomat russet or a, not quite golden russet. And I've been anxious to taste this thing. Here it is, Thanksgiving. Why not? Well, very close to a golden russet. I'll have to compare with my main orchard field. But this is a new first-year production grown on M111, the Russet Bottner. Yeah, Russet from Bottner Orchard. Dry, fine textured, sweet, and a little bit tannic, thin skin. It's good. It's good. It's fine. It's nothing to write home about. Okay, Smith cider. Smith cider. Both of these are Smith cider. Emla 9. Wow. This one does not look the same at all. I'm going to taste this Smith cider and Emla 9. Well, it's certainly got a lot of juice. I'd say the end of October. It's not worthy of moving into Thanksgiving. For interest, I'm going to try this one as well. It's so different. Yep. Wow. That's more like Famous. Well, is it yellow fleshed Smith cider? Or is it white fleshed Smith cider? Alright. Wife's favorite, and actually it's quite good. I gotta put it right up there in the top 10. Spygold. You see, it's quite big. It's huge. That's a bit of sooty blotch. It does get a rose blush when it's in the sun. These are amazing. And this is a good looking Spygold. That'll go into December easily. So I'm not going to eat that. But definitely worthy of growing. It's a good producer. It's triploid, and which means it's super vigorous. And yeah. Stayman Winesap. Apple scab. A little bit of shrunkenness to it. Thanksgiving. Should be okay.